Hi, everyone. You've landed at Aquascaping on the Fly, Living Art Creations. I'm Anthony, your host and content creator. And here on my channel, I like to infuse my love of spirit, Mother Nature, and DIY into every one of my builds, whether it's on the aquarium side or the terrarium side. And I always say I build with intent, meaning that almost every build starts with a walk through nature where I find some inspiration that Mother Nature has laid out for us. Now, that being said, what you're looking at right now is actually the interior of Tree of Life. Now, I'm looking back over my notes. Tree of Life was actually planted on May the 10th of this year. So it is just now 3 months old. And I want you to take notice of how the water quality looks. This is, of course, after our first RO water change that we did on the 2nd of this month, this being August. And this was in relation to the fact that I had flown a trip, because you guys know I'm a flight attendant. Just check out my bio. I'd flown a trip, a 3-day trip with one of my coworkers that I was sharing information about my channel and spirituality and how I get this information or downloads about builds that I need to do or get inspiration, and that I had just started adding shrimp to all my builds. And come to find out, she was formerly someone who kept shrimp in tanks. So she became my best friend immediately. And I started talking about some of the problems I was having with die-off of my shrimp, especially during molting, is what I had been seeing. And the first thing she asked me, what is your general hardiness? Which I had no answer because, you know, I'm new to this just like everyone else, hopefully, that's watching this video, and we learn things together, whether it's good or bad, and I always show you the realism. So that turned into me ordering a GHKH kit, testing kit. It arrived the day I came in from that trip, and I was able to test my water, and the numbers were off the chart. It was so far out of line, like maybe 5 times on some of my tanks, because I got 5 different tanks running, and for the hardiness level for my shrimp. So I immediately went into panic mode as to what could I do to remedy this, because I did not want to lose any more shrimp. Well, it came down to having to put in an RO system, and we went super low budget, and we did it ourselves. So over the next few days, I was actually able to do a 25% water change. And what I want to show you now is something that, as a result, I did not add any remineralization to the water. I felt like if I was doing very small changes, that this would occur naturally. Well, I was wrong, because look what has happened at the surface level. You see this white? This is not really a biofilm. This is the result of too much mineral being taken out of the water because of the RO. Even though we only did a 25% change, it now is able to produce this film at the top of the tank, which will dissipate over time. It's not harmful. Actually, the part that is interesting about this is when there's other minerals in here, it tends to attach to this, and it clumps up, and it usually falls to the bottom, and the shrimp would feed on it. I cleaned this. I just got in from a 3-day trip today. I cleaned this before I left on that trip with a paper towel off the top, put my little 5-watt pump at the very top to aerate the water, and it's completely covered it in the 2 days, full 2 days that I've been gone. So, but when I did clean it before I left, when I stirred the water up, the shrimp went crazy for it. I mean, they love it. The Amano shrimp and the ghost shrimp in here were like darting all around the tank, because it was literally, I was causing it to fall into the water column, and they were eating it up like amazing. So I know they love it. and it's a really cool food source for them. Now, it has a white, opaque color to it, and I cannot determine why it has this whiteness to it. So it almost looks like there's this the 1960s horror film fog to the level of, water above it. Like you're going to see the Black Lagoon and there's fog on top of it. That's to me what it looks like. This is the best way to put it. I'll try to zoom in a little bit closer and maybe you can get it, guys. I don't want to change the camera angle because I got something to show you. Okay, can you see there's little just spots? Yes, there is a shrimp up there. One of the shrimps. They do occasionally go upside down and they feed on this. Because like I say, they love it. Okay, so that's one thing. Look at the roots. Look how well the roots are doing. We are growing out of this one just temporarily. There is one pothos leaf that I picked up when I was in Florida on a layover, and it's getting some leaves, but the majority of the leaf that you see there is from this plant right there. This is called a croton, and you probably won't see it that well because the lights are going to be playing against it, but a croton has very beautiful variation in its leaves, and these are its roots in the back. And the little pothos is right there at the foreground. There's another sprig of it right to the left of your camera. You see another root system. So once it takes off, the root system in this is doing an amazing, amazing job. So those of you I've been seeing online questions about how do your houseplants doing. Some of the houseplants we're trying are doing really well in the build, and I love that. Let's get down to the star of the attraction and see if you can tell me what we're looking at. It's to the left of your screen. It's something you don't see every day, but it does happen. For those of you who can spot it, that is a Bucephalandra aragon that is in bloom. It is about to open. Now, I caught this the night before I was leaving on my trip, and I was not able to capture it. I was so happy that it hasn't fully opened up yet. And because I wanted to show this off to you guys. So I'm going to try to see if we can get any closer. Now, of course, you know what this means. That means the water quality in here and the lighting in here is really, really prime if we have a boost plant that is going to bloom for us. Let's get closer. Now, and you can tell when I built Tree of Life, this was my attempt at an irigumi style, meaning where you take the imperfect and turn it perfect. I took this white dead shrub that I found in a drainage ditch and cut it up and turned it into the tree that you see. Now, the tree initially looks dead because you think, oh, there's nothing on the leaves, the limbs, and it's dead. No, this tree is actually a phoenix. The first part of the growth that you would have seen would have been the Christmas moss that's just barely, let's see if we can turn this without causing too much distraction to everything. Okay, so let's try to see if we can focus on the bottom. See, there's a little bit of what I love about Christmas moss is how it grows these long spikes. So there's Christmas moss around and filtered around the base of the tree. Now the boost that's in here is only aragon because this tree should be technically an aragon tree. That's what we're going for. And as you can tell, the Christmas moss is doing really, really well. All right, let's go back. And the Rosenvig is the pink. It's in a field. So basically this tree is in a field of pink and green. I think I was channeling Christmas at the time when I was planning this because I love the idea of pink and green together. I think it's really, really pretty. And this, you can tell the water just barely moves on here, but apparently it's moving enough that it's providing nutrients for this. I think this is the furthest most Aragon that we have. I don't think there's another one. No, because I limited them to the very, very base where the largest root. You see that largest root that follows along the base of it? And you see how you see them, like there's one right here creeping out. There's some other ones creeping out. And then as you go this way, I believe, yep. I think it was just one order. It may have been 2 orders of Boost. It may have been 2. But just love how Boost underwater has this beautiful iridescent look to it. And there's one thing I want to say about your Boost. There's so many varieties of Boost. Please do not get distracted by the ones that are off the chart expensive. Because what I do is when I go online and I find a plant that I want, and it has the color characteristics that I want, I compare it to other ones of the same. So normally you'll find one that you love that's expensive. Then pull the plants up on whatever website you're going on. And you guys know I've said this at least a half a dozen times. I order from 3 places. It's basically Boost Plants, Aquarium Plants Factory, and I do get some from Amazon because I'm opportunistic. I want the best sale possible for our budget. And so what I'll do is if I find a Boost that I love, I will then go and sort by the least expensive plants and the ones that are on sale, and I'll compare them. I'm comparing size and color. And what I always will find is something for $6 versus something for $24. And so that's how I order my plants. And that's how I'm able to build some of these on a much lower budget than most of the channels that you guys are used to watching out there, where a aquarium build may cost you a minimum $800. And you guys know how easy that is when you start adding every little thing up that you put in there. And I believe the Tree of Life is around a $250 build. And this is a 20-gallon long. So, but the big takeaway on this is that, and let me see if I can go any closer for you guys, just so you can get a little more detail. I don't know how, yeah, there we go. Okay, so the camera does not like that. Okay, so that's basically as far back as we can go. So I've done the research online about the flowering. It usually flowers in 3 days. And it lasts a couple of days and it will fall off. Now, there's no one online has ever been able to propagate this because it's flowering underwater. There's no way for it to get cross-pollinated. You'd have to grow these, above ground to be able to collect the flowers. So we're hopefully just going to be able to catch it when it blooms. That way we can see what it's going to look like and get all excited. I'm just so stoked that a tank that is just 3 months old already has a flowering Boost in it. I think that's an amazing astonishment to say. And I will say, even my youngest tank, the Blackfish, I've noticed on my Boost and my Anubias, I can see all my new leaves coming out. So I know we are on the right track, at least for the quality of the health for the plants in there and the lighting that we're using. And you guys remember, I'm using very inexpensive lighting. I think my lighting per tank was $15 per tank. But it is still full spectrum. So I'm really, really happy about that. I am getting ready to do my second. I've already prepared, the night before I left on my trip, I prepared a bunch of RO water. And it's been sitting out now for 3 days. And unfortunately, I did not order anything to reintegrate into the RO water. So I've now taken care of that because I've got something in my Amazon shopping cart, but it's not going to be here for another full week. So I'm going to go ahead and I've consulted my experts, which honestly, it's ChatGPT. Oh my God, she's amazing. She knows all my tanks, and you guys just get a relationship with your ChatGPT and you just share information with them, and they will really, really help you with technical stuff like this. Once I explained everything in detail, the RO water, it was RO, formerly tap water. There was nothing I was adding into it. This bloom happened after the RO introduction. I mean, Chat just like narrowed it down and pinpointed it. And even I was able to print off a chart. So I've ordered the powder form of the minerals you regenerate with, and then also a gram scale so that I can get it technical. Because technically what I should be doing is in my RO water, introducing this powder chemical into it to bring the levels where it needs to be before it gets entered into the aquarium. But because my general hardiness is still too hard, my shrimp are at jeopardy of being affected. So we want to take care of that first. So I'm going to go ahead and do my second. This one's going to be a 30% water change across the board. The only thing that slows me down about this is I need to know exactly how many gallons I'm pulling out. So when I'm pulling out water out of my tanks, I'm collecting them by the gallon so I can document it. And how I will do this is I will first do a baseline test for the water parameters right now. Then I will drain the amount of gallons out of each one that will make it exactly a 30% water change. And then I will pump back in the RO untreated water back into the aquarium. Because I have these little 5-watt pumps in there, it will circulate the water fairly quickly. I can do a post-RO change out and do another complete water test on everything. And that'll be my new baseline for what we need to go forward when I receive the regenerative powder solution that you dissolve in your RO water. So for the next cycle around, I will be able to treat my water ahead of time. Then it goes in, and as it does, you're hoping for a very subtle difference, so none of your shrimp, go into shock. But I can tell you something that I was really amazed about, because my hardiness water has been so hard that once I changed it out this first time, I have seen way more animation out of my orange Rilly shrimp and out of my blue velvet shrimp, and also out of my ghost shrimp only tank. Now, the one we're looking at, the models and the ghost shrimp in here have always been have always been animated. They've always been swimming around. That's how we know there's nothing going on in this tank other than just an outbreak that we can easily fix. So I can feel confident that I know the water quality is going in the direction because the shrimp are behaving differently. They're out and they're swimming more. They look like they're having more fun. And I love that because shrimp have personalities. I mean, it's just really amazing. So I hope this helps. I will, in this video, put in my little testing box text about each one of the tanks and where they are at. This is going to be then video 2 on the GH and KH video. So the last video I did, which was really, really in depth, and I showed every little step. This time, you're just going to get this intro. I'll put the boxes in there so you'll know where my water is. And then once we receive our Amazon package in, we can go in then and start for the third, actually, RO switch out. We can start treating that water. So I hope this makes some sense. For those of you who are new, thank you for joining us. For my subscribers, you guys are amazing. We are 2 away from 250 subscribers, and I am loving that. I love your feedback. The community we are building here is amazing to me. I just love it. So I want to let you know how humble I am about that and to thank you. So until the next video, you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.